Hello, fellow Rotarians and guests. I'm Lori Alton, and I'm honored to serve as your club president for the Rotary year 2021-2022. The Rotary Club of Columbus has a storied past, beginning in 1915, when a group of civic-minded people saw the need for leaders to come together to find ways to make our community better. And now, 106 years later, we're a vibrant, strong club that continues to place service above self. Our club is diverse, with members across all sectors of business, government, military, healthcare, education, nonprofit and community service, ministry, and the arts. And we come together each week as friends with a shared purpose of learning how we can be more involved in the things that matter to all of us. And we leave committed to changing our community and changing lives. As Rotarians, we are people of action, and it shows. So welcome back to Rotary. Thank you for being here, and thank you for making a difference in our community. And also, there's something else today. It's February the 2nd. What day is that? Yeah, Groundhog Day. And so did you hear? Puxatawny Phil, if I said that correctly, saw his shadow, which means for the north. Beauregard Lee, in the south, Beauregard Lee did not see his shadow, which means early spring for us. So, yay. So now would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now I would like to ask Walker Garrett to bring us today's invocation in accordance with his faith tradition.
Thank you, President Laurie. If you will, please bow your heads with me. Lord, give our city peace and pour over your love all over our community. Bless our frontline protectors and their families for having the courage to serve. Give courage to those applying, or those considering applying, to be on our front lines so that our city may be safer. I ask for wisdom that all in our community would know how and when we can support and improve our city. As Rotarians, guide us into our missions that serve everyone and could help impact Columbus in positive ways. In your Son's name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
And as usual, please don't forget the cans. So at this time, I would like to ask Austin Lyle to bring us today's news.
Good afternoon, everyone, and here is a look at your headlines. The IRS will suspend automated warnings. With a backlog of almost 6 million unprocessed individual returns going back to 2019, the IRS announced it is pausing its practice to send automated warnings to filers that their taxes are overdue. The agency recognized that many of these notices would be erroneous due to the stockpile of unprocessed returns. And the FDA has now approved Moderna. The Food and Drug Administration granted full regulatory approval to Moderna's COVID vaccine for adults on Monday. This is just the second authorization granted by the FDA for a COVID vaccine after the Pfizer approval last year. And paid parking plan is potentially paused. And if that's not a tongue twister, I don't know what is. I did it to myself. But after citizens spoke against the implementation of paid parking in the Uptown area at a parking meeting last week, the city may halt its plans to install parking meters in Uptown. While a 2013 parking assessment and a 2019 audit drive the city's push for paid parking, this installation could be paused to allow for additional recovery post-COVID. Now, the Dow Jones was down 0.7 points at almost noon today, and your weather forecast is overcast with a high of 71 and a low of 49. Now, to end today, I wanted to highlight a special day that is on the horizon that many of you may not be aware of. This Friday is our very own President Lori's birthday. We will not say the age, but as an early surprise birthday present, I thought that we could sing happy birthday as a club. You guys are good with that? Good. All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lori. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Have a good day.
You're fired. And now it's my pleasure to call on Hayley Tillery to introduce today's visiting Rotarians and guests. Sorry, Hillary, I caught you off guard, didn't I? But let me tell you, I know what it feels like to be caught off guard.
It's so great that we have so many wonderful guests that we're going to have to add another table in here. This is getting back to Rotary, right? Let's give that a round of applause, getting people coming. So glad. All right, so we're getting that table added, but we are so grateful to have the guests that we have in-house today. Thank you for joining us. We hope that you will become permanent family with us one day. I want to recognize that Rotarian Judy Thomas brought her brother David Thomas. Welcome back. Glad to have you. And Lori has 3 guests with us today. Her first guest is Chris Boyette. He's the site leader of Tidal Wave Auto Spa at Veterans Parkway. Just wave your hand. There we go. We also have Greg Auden, which is Lori's husband. So you remember that birthday reminder right there. We also have Bruce Maxwell. He's the Director of Operations for Tidal Wave. So we're so glad to have our Tidal Wave guests with us today. And then Spence Seeley brought Jack Rosenhammer, who is also part of our military. And I think Jack is over here. So Jack, thank you for your service and being here today with us. Let's give all of our guests a warm Rotary welcome. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Hayley. One of my favorite parts each week is to welcome and honor a military guest. And so it's my pleasure now to call on Michael Tullier to please introduce today's Colonel Ralph Puckett Jr. Soldier of the Week.
Thank you, President Lori. We are honored and privileged today to have with us Staff Sergeant Jalen Perry, who is no stranger to Columbus and Fort Benning. It's where he did his basic training and has done a variety of other tours of duty since then. Along the way, he has served in Korea, and we thank you especially for your service overseas, where he earned the Korean Defense Service Medal. He's also working toward a cybersecurity degree and has been pursuing education throughout his time in the military, where he's earned Distinguished Honor Grad and Distinguished Leader designations throughout that time. He also holds an two Army Commendation Medals, 3 Army Achievement Medals, and of course his Korean Defense Service Medal that I mentioned earlier. He was born in Albany and has spent most of his time here, as he said, in Georgia. He is engaged, hopes to get married next year to his fiancée, who's currently serving at Fort Campbell. He is preparing for his next assignment, which is pretty impressive. He has dedicated a lot of his service in the military to information technology and communication roles. He will be preparing to serve as part of the White House Communications program, and will be serving there for 4 or 5 months. 5 years. Excuse me, 5 years. So hopefully along the way, he and his fiancée will unite, get married as well. And so congratulations to you on that. Thank you for being with us here. Staff Sergeant Perry, we have a couple of things for you as part of your title as Colonel Ralph Puckett Soldier of the Week. First of all is a certificate commemorating that. So we hope that you will find a place to use that. And more importantly, we have a Rotary Challenge coin, and we expect that you are familiar with that. So we hope you find a place to keep that safe and sound. We also, and knowing that you are a pretty busy person getting ready for your next assignment, we do have the Passport to the Arts, so we hope you get to enjoy during your remainder time here in Columbus. But this provides you and a guest to a variety of cultural arts programs here in the Columbus area. It includes tickets to programs at the River Center, the Columbus Symphony Orchestra, the Infantry Museum, Columbus State University Theater Department, and the Springer, so you can take that with you as well. And finally, we have a book, Words of Warriors, written by Colonel Ralph Puckett. In it is an inscription. This particular copy is dedicated by Andy Redmond, who was at our table with us and talking with us before, dedicated in the memory of his father-in-law, David Taylor, who was an airman second class in the U.S. Air Force and served as an aerial refueling boom operator on KB 50 tankers from 1959 to 1963. So Andy, thank you for dedicating this book. Jalen, we hope that you enjoy that as well, and we just thank you for being with us today. If you'd like to say a word or two, feel free.
How's everybody doing today? I appreciate you all for letting me come here today. So if you spent one day in the military, then you know what I mean by this. But my sergeant major came into my office last week, and he was like, hey, I need you to give me this bio by COB because you're going to the Rotary Club luncheon next week. And I'm like, all right, roger that. I wasn't sure what the Rotary Club was. but upon coming here, though, I'm extremely grateful for the hospitality and everyone speaking to me, being nice, and letting me know the history. And it really is humbling to be here around you, to be able to share the same energy with you all. I'm very grateful for it. And I've been working hard, as you all have too, and it's amazing to see what that end result looks like. So I pray, one day that I can be a part of something like this, just as great as this. Or for lack of better words, I want to be like you all when I grow up. So thank you all for having me today.
Staff Sergeant Perry, what a pleasure it is to have you with us. And please take back to all the men and women who serve alongside you, including your fiance, your wife? Fiance. That we certainly appreciate all that you do for us, and we hope you will come back and see us, okay? I don't have any announcements today, just a quick reminder and a thank you to put your mask back on when not eating. I thank you for that. So joining me today at the head table is Walker Garrett, who brought us our invocation, and now it's my pleasure to call on Matt Swift, past President Matt Swift, to introduce today's speaker.
Thank you, Lori. It is a real honor to introduce to y'all Scott Blackstock. He's a good friend of mine, but more importantly, it's an honor because I want to try to frame a little bit the extraordinary story behind Scott and his business. Now, if I read from his bio all of the acclamations and all the awards and all of the things he's done, it would just take entirely too much time. So what I thought I'd do is just highlight a little bit about his life and his career and put it in the framework of what the extraordinary success that he personally and his business has achieved. And as I go through his resume a little bit, I want you to think of two words, and that is innovation and expansion. So Scott was born in Thomaston, Georgia, right up the road from us, and he was raised there, and he attended, I wasn't going to say University of Georgia, Scott, but he attended Georgia Tech, so Freudian slip there, but while there, he was the president of his fraternity, and he graduated in 1979 with a BS in chemical engineering. From there, he spent a couple of years at Procter & Gamble, but Scott quickly realized that he was not born for the corporate world, and so he decided to come back to Thomaston and run his own business. It was really important to him to be in charge of his own business. And so what he did is he came back in 1981 and he bought his father's business, and it was a tire and automobile service business. And almost immediately he started expanding that business in Thomaston. And really over the next 20 years, he expanded that tire and auto business. He also diversified out into some real estate with some self-storage units, some commercial things. But really what made the thing that really changed his life and really his entire business career was really around the year 2000, he got into the car wash business. One of the first, and his very first one was right there in Thomaston. And so really from the year 2000, for the next decade, about 10 years, he expanded and he innovated the car wash business, and he expanded his business so that really he got beyond Thomaston and he got beyond Georgia, really out into the southeast. And it really culminated in 2009 when up in Washington, D.C., the United States Small Business Association awarded Scott and his business the Georgia Small Business Company of the Year, which was pretty remarkable. But Scott didn't rest on his laurels. Back in 2009 and 2010, he continued to innovate and expand his car wash business. He got some outside capital from some private investors, and literally over the next 10 years, from 2010 to the current, he has expanded all over the United States, to the extent that now he is the 9th largest car wash chain in America. He's received the number 6, in a recent survey said he was the 6th best car wash chains in America. He's been listed as one of the fastest growing small businesses in the country. He has over 90 locations throughout the United States. And when you add all of his employees from all of his different countries, it's over 600 people. A lot of stuff from a very small town in Thomaston. But he did all this. He was still involved in a lot of civic activities, and I'm not going to go through them all. Yes, he served on the board of the banks. He served on hospital boards. He served with his chamber. He was an elder and a deacon in his church. And so he stayed very involved in a lot of them. But I'll mention one where Scott and I got to know each other back some time ago. He was involved in the University of Georgia Small Business Quick Start, how you grow your business program through the chamber, and that's how Scott and I got to first be acquainted. And recently, both Scott and I are on the Georgia Department of Economic Development Board up in Atlanta, so we get to see each other there. So really, what he has done has been remarkable. However, what really, in my opinion, moves the needle from remarkable to extraordinary is that in 1991, he and his lovely wife, Hope, they had a son. His name is Justin, but he was born with cerebral palsy. He was born with other deficiencies, and literally they've had to almost keep him in a bubble the entire time. And yet for 30 years they have done that beyond all odds of what most people would have predicted. So he's done all of this with his private life and the private business. But if you ask him today, the thing that he cherishes the most, the thing that means the most to him, it's the fact that he and his wife have this son, Justin, and have been able to look after him through their faith and through their dedication to his family. So it is with a great deal of pleasure that I introduce you really what America is all about, what Georgia's all about, a great patriot. Let me introduce you to Scott Blackstock.
Wow. Thank you, Matt. This is not so much about Tidal Wave or me or the business as it is about people, and honestly about the American dream and about how people help each other accomplish that dream. Y'all have got something special here in Columbus. You know, there's so many towns, so many cities that when the textiles went away, the jobs did. And Columbus has got to be one of the best examples in the country of a city that came together and said, how do we address this? You know, we can't change it. This is happening. So how do we keep the community together? How do we make this a vibrant city? And I think Columbus is an example. I've had a lot of the things that Matt mentioned happened here. He mentioned the tire store. This young lady first came to my tire store in a car seat. If that tells you how far back Lori and I go. That was pre-car washing. That was Tire and Automaster and the SBDC. And then 2009, we're mentioning about, or 2008, I think it was, the IWOW and Fast Start and Fast Track was 2008, 7 and 8, correct? Yes. So SBDC put this on, and it was all about, the thing I remember is make your company franchise ready. Didn't say franchise it, but just make it franchise ready. And all these skill sets, and I had this phenomenal mentor here that was kind enough to mentor me. Jack Pizzo also was kind enough to do so. And I look back on it, and the success we've had, a lot of those seeds were planted by people in this room and by this community. So thank you. I appreciate it. That is huge. So again, thank you for having me here. Let's go into it. You notice at the center, it's Tidal Wave Auto Spa. If you look around the outside, it's all about people. Okay. I hope, if anything, Tidal Wave is different in that regard, is that we have focused on the people. We've focused on the customer. We've focused on our employees, our team members. We've focused on partners that we've had. And, you know, I assume we got a bunch of Zig Ziglar fans here. You know, if you focus enough on getting other people what they want, you'll succeed. And I hope that's a big part of what Tidal Wave has been done differently, is we put people and their needs first, and the success will come. So as we go through this, you'll see that has been our primary focus. Double click. I'm notorious for doing that. My IT guy says, Scott, if you would not double click everything. I said, well, it ought to be either click or double click, one or the other. All right, either this is out of the order or that is. Okay. So in 2022, as it says, we're headquartered in Thomaston. We're currently in 14 states. As you can see, we're now over 1,000 employees. If you'd ever told me this little car wash company would have 1,000 employees, that's a lot of pressure. You know, again, focusing on people, the idea that there are 1,000 families dependent. So well, throw out a question. Number one requirement for somebody to work at Tidal Wave, this is part of the focus, is to have fun. I get the funniest looks when I get a new team in, and I'll ask that question, and in their orientation, they've heard it, but you can tell that they're all real nervous about telling the CEO that their expectation is to have fun. But to me, if an employee or a teammate's not having fun, they can't possibly give my customers the service they should have. You know, a genuine smile. Again, taking from other people. I look back, there were milestones along the way that has allowed us to achieve what, you know, Matt was kind enough to say was pretty good success. And probably one of the big ones is we put in Key 3. We went to I have some friends that are in Chick-fil-A, and they had a cancellation at a table, and this was CEO level, how you provide Chick-fil-A service. And so they're going around the room introducing people, and this one guy stands up. Hello, I'm CEO of Federal Express. This is my CFO. This is blank, blank, blank. The next person stands up. Hello, I'm CEO of Keller Williams. This is so-and-so. This is so-and-so. Next one stands up. You know, I'm CEO of Home Depot, blank, blank, blank. They get to my table, and I'm like, I'm CEO of Tidal Wave Auto Spa, and just everybody whipped around like, what are they doing here? And just fortunate enough to have a really good friend that when they had a cancellation, called me up and said, come. Well, when we left out of there, I said, look, we just received some very generous information and advice. How do we take it? And we created what we call Key 3. Is our team is supposed to, when you come within 10 feet of a teammate or a customer, make eye contact, share a creative smile, which is a smile with an intent to get a smile back, and then share a pleasantry or a compliment. Well, guess what? All that happens naturally if the person's having fun. Think about it. If you're having fun, you're naturally making eye contact with everybody. You're naturally smiling, and you're naturally being pleasant. So one of our first directives to our site leaders, our managers, is make darn sure your team is enjoying themselves, having fun. And I hope that's part of our customer service. I look at our reviews. We get a lot of comments. As an engineer and a chemical engineer in particular, when we first put this in, all of a sudden our 5-star reviews went from the cleanest wheels, cleanest car, best car wash I've ever had, driest car I've ever had, to, wow, these people are friendly. They're really nice. Great smiles. Everybody's enjoying themselves. And at first I was kind of like, yeah, but what about the car? And then someone would say, oh yeah, and by the way, the car is the cleanest I've ever seen it. But it was exactly what you want. It's exactly what you want your team to do, is to provide that. So I think that's a big part of our focus, is have fun, enjoy yourself, make sure that our customers are enjoying themselves. Again, a little bit of the growth that comes with this. This is not the focus, it's a side benefit. But in 2022, we more than doubled our home office staff. We do Christmas bonuses, and Beth Trice, who's my sister, and also she is the WIC, woman in charge. She runs that office. Every successful company has to have somebody that comes in and tells the CEO, you need to do so-and-so, you need to do it now. That's Beth's role. And she does a great job. But she was showing me the bonuses, and I said, what are all these people highlighted in yellow? She says, those are people that weren't here last year. And it was literally over half of the team at the home office wasn't here last year. So again, proud of that. Definitely a bright spot for Thomaston, Georgia. It makes us feel very good to be able to provide meaningful, exciting careers for the people of Thomaston. Okay, world's best team and customers. Yeah, every now and then you just have a aha moment. And 2012, thanks to a lot of help from a lot of people, I sold the vast majority of my car washes to Mr. Car Wash. And Matt mentioned my son, Justin, and provided for him for the rest of his life. And this old country boy, financially, I hadn't met my goals. So I told everybody, we kept a handful of people at the home office and kept 4 car washes. And I said, we're just going to kind of coast for a while. And I took Hope all over the country, all over the world. We went marlin fishing in the country of Panama. We went bone fishing in the Bahamas. We went trout fishing in Colorado. So you're picking up on a theme there. But after a while, I was at my computer in the home office, and she came to me, and she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm just working on a project. And she reached over and turned off my computer. She says, what are you doing? And I said, let me show you. And I put together this business plan. And it was based on, has anybody here read Peter Thiel's 0 to 1? Okay, great book. If you're a business person, I highly recommend reading it. But he mentioned that in business, there's 2 types of businesses. There's N+1, which would be like Five Guys hamburgers. Yeah, they develop a new model. It's a new hamburger, but it's a N+1. It's butter. And then there's 0 to 1, which is a brand new business concept. And he gave the examples. Peter Thiel's known for PayPal. That was his big invention. That usually it's in technology that you invent a brand new process that you've invented a company. But the 2 he held up for examples that really rung true with me were Starbucks and Chick-fil-A. That every now and then a company comes along that redefines a mature industry. And what they have in common is they do everything better than the competitors. And so, you think about it, it's even hard to think of a coffee chain now besides Starbucks. I mean, you say, name a coffee chain, and virtually everybody's going to say Starbucks. But they took waitresses and made them baristas. They came out with all the flavors. My wife never bought a coffee. Now she buys an $8 pastry of some kind and hang on a minute, grande mocha latte with cinnamon. I knew I had to get that right. So every day. So they redefined that business. And so that's what we did at Tidal Wave, or tried to. I said, we're going to provide the best product out the end of the tunnel. We're going to provide better customer service, and we're going to have a cleaner, more attractive business. And we're going to be the employer of choice, that we deliberately choose to provide the best jobs, have fun, and meaningful careers, and train our team. And it has certainly paid off for us. There's the screen freezing up. Okay. Yeah. So that tells you a little bit of our history, which Matt has already been kind enough to mention. As you can see, the growth in the last few years has really been just mind-boggling, and it's more fun than I've ever had. I mentioned back in 2012, I thought I was finished. I got so bored. So we're back at it. And as you see, that goes into it. The customer service with Chick-fil-A washes, and the technology. This morning, since we were in Columbus anyway, Greg and I did our favorite day. We were at the car washes trying a new chemical package and a new product. And I'll tell you a little secret about Greg. He would rather do that than play golf. That tells you how much both he and I enjoy it. The club memberships, I think that was probably a big aha moment, is that we decided early on that was the business model we wanted to pursue, that these were loyal customers, and the ability to come in and wash your car every day if you wanted to. It just makes it, rather than a car wash, it makes it my car wash. And so we always try to focus on that. And then, again, the beauty of it. Charity Day, talking about focusing on people, it's one thing we're proud of. The third Friday of every September, Friday being our busiest day, we take 100% of our revenue we bring in that day and we give it to charity. We try to focus on people with special needs. Obviously, that's a place special in my heart. We have a lot of small town organizations, so we give half to the local community, we give half to our corporate sponsor, and so we've been very proud of that. Can you imagine if the entire country, if every business would give one day, the impact we could have? So, and it means a lot to the team members. The home office, they go out and prep cars. It is funny, the next day, they'll come in Monday and they'll all be bent over with their back sore, and they'll show me the blisters on their hands. And they thought, wow, I didn't know we worked so hard. So it's been great for everybody. Again, people-oriented, the 5-star reviews, that is what we focus on. Yeah. Your customers will let you know. It's one thing to hope you have a better or a different business. It's a different thing when your customers are telling you that. And so I always appreciate that. Also appreciate when people let us know we can do better. And as you can see, the leadership, we got kind of two philosophies that have changed our company. There is two type of people that come onto our lot, which is club members and future club members. So if it's your first time there, we treat everybody like they're a club member, because I certainly hope that they become one. And then our team, our employees, there are site leaders, which are the store managers, and future site leaders. So even if you're a $16 an hour just hired, a $10 an hour just hired 16-year-old, our game plan is that you're going to develop skill sets and abilities to become a site leader. And there's no single bigger motivator than training and then recognition. So that has been one of our focuses. All right. That was kind of a thumbnail sketch. If y'all had 3 hours, I would talk to you about Tidal Wave for 3 hours, but Lori said I could not. So I'd like to take a few questions. If there are any, I want to reemphasize again how much I appreciate this community. These can be used for two things. I think, did everybody get one? You can use these for a bookmark, or you can take them by Tidal Wave and get a free $25 car wash and then use it for a bookmark. So I highly recommend the second thing. And it's just a way to say appreciation for having me here and to, again, appreciate this community for the role it's played. Yes, ma'am.
Where are the shops in Columbus?
There is one at on Miller Road. Help me with this. What part? Yeah. The intersection of Warm Springs and Miller Road, and then Veterans and Moon Road, right? The intersection of Veterans and Moon Road, and hope that's convenient to everybody. We're kind of on two parts of the town there. Thank you. Yes, sir.
You mentioned franchise ready earlier in the talk. How does that apply to Tidal Wave?
I looked really long and hard at franchise, and it wasn't the right thing for Tidal Wave. We seriously considered it. What we did instead was joint ventures, because to me, the tension that creates in franchise I usually see is the franchisor gets a percentage of sales, the franchisee gets the profit. Those two things are radically different. So doing a joint venture, similar but radically different, now we're both sides are sharing in the profit. And but that was, the whole idea was, if it's franchise ready, now you can hand it to somebody. If it's dependent on Scott Blackstock being the guy who runs them, maybe 4 or 5, be all I could ever do. So that's why that was such valuable information. Thank you. Who else?
Scott, tell me a little bit about the struggles and how you've overcome the labor shortage and the flat of the COVID issue.
Yeah, that is, building a business is challenging enough. The last 2 years, it has been especially challenging, and I know all of us are going through this. So, again, this focus on people, and I need to knock heavily on wood, we've been able to open and operate every Tidal Wave every day. Now, we have been shorthanded. About a month ago, out of 270 site leaders and assistant site leaders, 1 week we had 58 out. And so that's what, 30%, somewhere in there. But it's a large percentage, and it was the same thing among our frontline people. But I think one thing that's allowed us to, A, attract good people, and B, keep them, is the focus on two things. The focus on having fun. Now, if you're an 18-year-old entry-level employee, you can go work 2 places making $10 or $12 an hour. One place is fun, one place is miserable. Where are you going to be? Obviously, you're going to go to the place where people are having fun. And then the other thing is this training. I mean, from day one, we're trying to equip these young people with leadership skills and talents. And everybody likes to feel like they're valued and that they're growing. So I think that has allowed us to do better than a lot of other businesses out there. I mean, we all go to them, we see them closed. And that is frustrating because they can't get enough people to work. Thank you. Anybody else?
I have one question for you real quick.
Yes.
So, Montana, the farthest away tidal wave, or South Dakota?
Montana's the furthest away that we're under construction. We just put a contract on one in Idaho. So.
Okay. So, for South Dakota then, what was the temperature this morning? And were they washing cars?
Okay, it was minus 15, and yes, we were washing cars. Now, we have to build them separately or differently in Montana or North Dakota. We're in Fargo, North Dakota. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's another one. But we're in Fargo, North Dakota. We're 30 miles from Canada. That's up up there, I'll tell you. It is. So you've got these automatic high-speed doors, which the doors come up right as you pull in, they go in right in behind you. And then we've got these 3 huge, look like jet engines, 460,000 BTUs each, that blow out this massive amount of hot air every time the door comes open. Now, we don't need that here, thank goodness. But it does allow us to stay open there. Okay?
Is the price the same for that car wash there as it is here?
It is. The only difference is the lowest priced club plans. We were not able, the club memberships, we're not able to do those there because we're literally doing them below cost, because it is more expensive to operate up there, obviously. More expensive to build, more expensive to operate. So very good question and legitimate. But yeah, same price for the base wash, same price for the club plan. Just can't get the lowest price one. All right, I got 2 minutes.
Say that again, Greg.
Please say that again.
Number of locations planning to open for 2022.
Currently, we've got 84 scheduled to be open this year, 84 additional ones. We've got 148 as of last week. I don't know if we've added some that are either under construction or being permitted. So yeah, it is more fun than, all my team says, you're really weird what you consider fun, Scott. But I said, come on, this has got to be fun to do this. So we are having a good time. All right, you got 1 minute, Lori.
Yeah, one more. Dick's got one question.
If you're
Yes,
a
sir.
member, if you're a member of a club at one location, is it good at all locations?
Yes, it is, and that hopefully is one of the big benefits. Usually I'm right about things. What I will do is when I'm wrong, I'll admit it. Everybody kept saying that there was a whole lot more of what I call cross-fertilization between my sites, and I'm like, okay, in the same town, 2 in Columbus, yeah, but people in Columbus aren't going to use ones in Panama City. Guess what? There was way more of it than I ever dreamed of. So yeah, it is available. One place is good everywhere. All right, I'm going to have to quit because Lori said if I wasn't down in my seat by 1 o'clock, she was going to kick me. And I won't want that. Thank you. Thank y'all.
I think you were paraphrasing maybe what we said, but you know, I look back on the tidal wave journey, and Greg and I were early partners in 2010. Full disclosure, first partners in 2010 with our Milledgeville tidal wave location, and we didn't know what we were doing, did we? We were just trying to figure it out.
Always knew what a club was. Always.
But it's been wonderful, and I can honestly say that tidal waves changed our lives. And so thank you for being here. And to commemorate you being here, we will put a children's book with your name on it in our local public library. So thank you, Scott. Just remember that a replay of today's program will be on Facebook, and you'll also receive a YouTube link. And I would like to re-welcome all of our visitors and our guests today. Thank you for being here, especially Staff Sergeant Perry. What an honor to have you. And I'm going to keep reminding you until those directories are gone in the back. If you haven't picked up your directory, I want you to make sure you've got it. And also, Julie mentioned invoices. So let's race back there and pick up our invoices as well. So you won't want to miss next week's program, where we'll have Dave Deep with Wake for Warriors. So until we meet next week, let's make a difference.